Okay, that was, somebody say something real quick.
Heh.
So you changed your audio settings a little, didn't you?
I didn't change my audio settings.
I think XSplit changed his audio settings a little bit.
Because I go to my... well, anyway, hey, everybody, it's Fight Club Hubs, and we're already starting off with some wonderful problems.
And I'm a menu.
Yeah, I might actually... This might be the thing that makes me switch to OBS.
You've become very texty.
Apparently. As if my avatar last show wasn't enough. Jeez.
Just wondering why it didn't confirm the output to the Yeti. I mean, I hear you guys just fine, so why the hell is nothing else outputting towards it?
Because you touch yourself at night, Hubs.
Good. Good.
Good. Just
he just says good. That's fine, I guess.
Every time I touch myself, God kills a kitten.
Oh, well.
Okay. Hey, so, Janice Krug, can you hear my cohorts whatsoever? This is the oddest opening we've ever had to this show in quite a long time.
He's not wrong.
So we're delaying the opening, and yeah, she hears us all. So
yes, that's fine. That's okay. Good.
Well, anyway, hey, welcome to GVN Live. We're off to a great start tonight.
Stop fucking breaking shit, you bald piece of shit.
Does that look like I'm bald, motherfucker?
Listen.
But I am a piece of shit, so whatever.
Listen.
Mold grows on poop, it's fine.
Hey, listen.
Yep. I got a little thing for you now, Mark. So every time you say, "Hey, listen."
Hey, listen.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull a fucking Imus on you.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
You don't remember radio talk show host Imus?
Nobody knows who Don Imus is, Robert.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Why are you talking
okay,
about?
well, he has this stupid little thing that goes on in his show where every time he say, "Hey, what time is it?" you hear a fucking duck quack in the background.
That'd be great, except we can't hear any of that. So nice try.
Well, yeah, now everything's going to my headphones as opposed to coming out my speakers, so you couldn't hear it, but I have Navi screaming, "Hey, listen."
So...
But anyway, fuck it all.
Tonight, who
tonight...
wants to talk about technical difficulties at the biggest shows that we
I suppose it's better that it's going up your headphones instead of up your ass.
Oh my god. It's been like this since before we started the show, folks. Let's just put that out there. Mark kindly referred to our wonderful co-host Hubs here as
co-host.
Default WWE create a character number 6.
I mean, where's the lie?
So yeah, if that doesn't just dictate the pace of today's show.
Yeah, matter of fact, we are going to get to that. So, real quick, so E3 was just this past weekend, and some interesting things happened, but a lot of boring stuff happened. Thank God our first topic of conversation is going to, distract us just for a little bit. So, there is a guy by the name of Dr. Disrespect. If you don't know who he is, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But this guy decides to go...
Before we go into this, can anybody tell me, is that motherfucker wearing a wig, or does his hair just look like it's made out of fucking plastic and fail?
I don't know. He looks like a budget 80s porn star, to be truthfully honest.
That's actually what he's going for. It is a wig and a fake mustache. All of his... That is
the worst fucking aesthetic. That is the worst fucking aesthetic I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he's going for. Is actually awful, hence the reason why he's called Dr. Disrespect. Because he basically disrespects everything about whatever it is that you're trying to do. Because he's just that kind of child. But hey, whatever gets the ratings, because apparently he gets thousands of people watching him on stream and hundreds of dollars of YouTube money and Twitch money on a daily basis when he does. So, hey, you know what? It's working for him. So
yeah, I mean, hey, why not look like, you know? I mean, he looks like he's got the leftover
Jeremy
trimmings.
If he wasn't in porn.
I was gonna say he looks like Joey Ryan's like leftover trimmings, but.
Ugh.
But anyway, so this wonderful jackass decides, hey, you know what? I'm going to start live streaming. He takes his cameraman, he goes into a bathroom, and he does all kinds of wacky shit while live streaming in there, including screaming bodyguard for whatever reason. Let's put this into perspective here. Afterwards, you know, he got kicked out of E3. His badge was revoked. And then shortly after, his live stream was shut down by Twitch and removed. And then a week later, he started bitching about it on Twitter and on YouTube. Now, here's the thing as to why that happened. For one thing, in California, there is a law stipulating that you cannot take recording devices into... I mean, this is probably nationwide, but in California, it is considered a breach of privacy to just have any form of recording equipment in a public bathroom. Now, we do see this on the news happen quite often, where assholes have hidden bathroom or cams all over the place. But he took a giant-ass camera, and why he wasn't stopped is what puzzles me. Like, him and his cameraman walk right into the bathroom, and nobody fucking stops him. I guess security was working a little light detailed that day.
I mean, from having been to E3, I will tell you they do not have security guards at the bathrooms, because they generally assume that if you are on the floor of E3, that you have an understanding of how to behave like an adult and how to act in public as a human being. So there isn't really a situation where they have to have people staffed at the toilets to make sure that they don't do things there. Mm-hmm. Like there's not really an expectation that they need to have security anywhere but at the entrances, because they assume that, you know, people who are going in there know how to behave.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not surprising that there wasn't security there to stop him, because it's generally not assumed that that's going to be a thing. Like,
right.
If nothing else happens, this is probably going to be the point where E3 probably has to say, you know, great, thanks. Now we have to account for this shit because you're so fucking dumb that you did something we didn't even think was going to happen.
And it just seems like there's always some little incident that just happens at an E3, and they have to constantly, you know, get rid of something to prevent, like, anything else from happening in the future. I mean, what was it, 10 years ago? They got rid of booth babes because a lot of the booth babes were tired of being harassed. I mean, a lot of them also were, you know, dressed provocatively, and some of the people at E3 were claiming, oh, we want to have a more professional-looking image to our convention. But at the same time, I mean, I did read about a bunch of these girls who were talking about, yeah, I got touched way too much by a bunch of, like, you know, sleazy guys. And most people don't seem to remember or realize that E3 may be an event for, you know, gaming journalists, but people who work in the industry as well are usually in attendance. And then there are people who are not involved in the gaming industry whatsoever still manage to get into the event.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they say it's not a public event, but the public is still making it in there. And the public is doing stupid shit, and E3's like, yeah, okay, we got to stop this. And
well, I mean, the thing is that they've opened it up to the public in limited amounts. I know they did it last year. I don't remember if they did it this year or not, and I honestly don't. Like, I'm not necessarily interested in that particular part of things, but I know they opened it up that last year, so it wouldn't surprise me if they did it this year. But here's the thing. We live in a brave new world now where E3 isn't just keeping it to professional journalists. They're letting in influencers. An influencer is anybody with a YouTube channel above a certain volume, or anybody with a Twitch channel above a certain volume, or whatever. So you are basically representing your brand. And I mean, that's not necessarily anything super new, right? Like when I went there, God, like 2012, I want to say. Like Angry Joe was there, just being Angry Joe, you know. So that's the thing they've been doing for a few years now.
Please tell us the story again of how you pissed him off and he walked all away.
He was like, "Hey, man," I was like, "Hey, you're Angry Joe," and he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Are you a fan?" I was like, "No, I'm just friends with your girlfriend online." Which is hilarious. Which is hilarious because like somewhere in the past couple of years, like I stopped being friends with her too. So it's like now they both dislike me for completely different reasons, and I'm just like, okay.
That's good. I approve.
Weird internet people, man. Just weird internet people.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so this is not a new trend. You know what I'm saying? We've been having influencers go to these sorts of events for a while. It's just that the people who comprise the sphere of influencers have been becoming less and less accountable to basic human interaction. Like somebody like Angry Joe, his entire gimmick is just, you know, I yell on camera, but he has an approximation of how to behave in front of human beings.
Right.
He knows how to act like a person.
He's not doing it for the lulz.
Right. And more Twitch influencers and YouTube influencers are straying further and further from God's light. So basically what it's coming down to here is you've got these people who probably shouldn't be in a position where lots and lots of people are watching them do stuff, have lots and lots of people watching them do stuff. So then they go into public and it generally ends in disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, this isn't necessarily unique to Twitch, to like the gaming side of things. You know, look at the Paul brothers in general. But it's you know, there are just people who are not well equipped to being famous, who become famous, and who, when they have that fame thrust upon them,
act like assholes.
Yeah, they just act like terrible fucking people. So the idea that Dr. Disrespect is an awful douche in general is not really a surprise. I mean, this is a guy who, you know, left streaming for a period of time because he cheated on his wife. But this is not, it is not a surprise that he is so mentally inept that it did not occur to him, don't film in a place where people might have their private parts out. Like that did not occur to him as a thing that might happen.
Yeah, in fact, one of the reviews one of the things I was reading about Kotaku was apparently they found a kid in the bathroom stall as well while watching some of the footage, and they chose not to share that on their site, Kotaku. And I'm just like, how the fuck do you go into the bathroom, not see this kid, and you're still streaming? What in the flying fuck is wrong with you? Where is your common sense? I mean, sure, I get it, you're doing for the lulz, but
I mean, there's no guarantee he even knew the kid was there, because the E3 is a sea of bodies, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever gone to to try and give you an idea of how this works? Have you ever gone to some type of a day of release for a movie where it's like really popular and every seat is packed, and You get out of the theater at the end of the night, and you go into the bathroom, and it's just a line of fucking bodies in every single stall. It's like that. You have no idea, but in every single bathroom you go to at every point in time during the entirety of the 3 days that you're there. I don't want to give him shit for not seeing the kid or for not having an issue about the kid, because it is entirely reasonable to believe that he could not have been aware of this kid around him. Like, I don't want to bury him too much here.
I mean, yeah,
it's very reasonable.
Just a little.
Kid.
I mean,
we're just gonna bury him a little. It's fine.
I mean, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I don't know when, but E3 for the longest time would not allow people who were under the age of 21 in. So I don't know when that rule changed. So maybe he didn't know about it.
Well, even then, like all I'm saying here is, I don't want to necessarily blame him for stuff that he could very easily be unaccountable for. Mm-hmm. The fact that he had a kid on video is bad, but I don't want that to be like a thing of, fuck that guy because there was a kid on there. And I see a lot of people who are leaning in really hard on that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, he probably had no idea the kid was there. He almost certainly was not intending for that sort of thing to happen. And we really need to be looking at the fact that he was filming in the bathroom. Like, we don't need to make this worse than it is. We don't need to try and make him more of a pariah than he is here. He was filming in the bathroom.
So, I think the issue really stems more from the fact that it wasn't just him filming. He had a camera person who followed him into the bathroom and recorded him in the bathroom. The cameraman could have ended the controversy from the word go before he even walked in that bathroom, knowing full well that he was following him doing what he was doing. So we're not just talking about one person doing something stupid. We're now talking about two people doing something stupid. Because the cameraman could have simply just said nope and just waited.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, though, you're making the assumption that he would hire somebody smarter than him.
I mean, touche. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt, knowing full well that this person is basically like, I don't think they should be following in here. Because I know plenty of IRL streamers, and if they have to go to the bathroom and they're in public, they blank out the phone and they mute the audio. It's common knowledge. Especially in certain countries. Like, it's even worse in Japan than it is in the States, but still, the idea is basically you're breaking an invasion of privacy law that is also part of a peeping Tom law, that is part of a penal code that says that, people in specific locations like bathrooms, bedrooms, changing rooms, tanning booths, dressing rooms, yada, 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 have reasonable expectation that they're not going to be filmed because of something somebody else did. However, it's still something that happened, and shame on him for doing it. I mean, you go into a bathroom and you then look around, say, son of a bitch, notice that all of the stalls are full, see somebody come out of the stall and go and look at the camera directly in front of not just his stream, but also the 20 people in the bathroom with him, which I might add looked pretty empty actually. I'm going to diarrhea now, and then proceed to go into the stall while the cameraman then comes around the corner and watches him go into the stall. Like, this was a play-by-play. Like, this wasn't just like I'm in the bathroom, gotta go. No. This was planned. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, he planned the entire show around him going in and doing this in the bathroom, knowing full well that he was being a dumbass. What I don't think he understood was the fact that there's laws in place about this kind of stuff, and Twitch was ooh, we know the law, you don't know the law. We're from California, you're obviously not. And so now you're going to get dinged. To my knowledge, the channel is still actually not up.
Yes.
Yeah, his channel is still down.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's suspended indefinitely, from what I understand. And I'm pretty sure he got slapped with some form of ticket and or something. I don't know. He's gonna get charged by California for something, because both of them are gonna get charged. Like, there's no doubt about that in my mind. They're both gonna get charged with something because they were just being stupid about it. I don't understand why something like this has to be talked about because it happened. Something like this happening 5 years ago, that'd have been hella scandal. Like, this would have been like national news scandal. Now it's like,
oh, it's just a Tuesday.
This is normal for us. We're so desensitized and stable enough to understand that, like, this is a norm, that people are that far out of the reservation that they're like, oh, I'm just gonna go film the bathroom because I am an IRL shock streamer, and this is what gets views. This is what gives publicity. I read an article earlier today, actually, about how somebody interviewed the doc about it, and he's like, it's fine, it's whatever, it's not that big of a deal. I'll be back on streaming again soon. It's not an issue.
And you know what the big problem is that for every jackass like a Dr. Disrespect there is out there, there's going to be 10 imitators following in his footsteps, trying to recreate or be even more shocking about the stuff that they are trying to do. And that is a very, very scary thing that I really just wish somehow this could be put in control of somehow. Like, I mean, we don't need any more Dr. Disrespects. We don't really need any more fucking Paul brothers. We don't need any more, dumb shit being said by, like, PewDiePie or whatnot. I mean, it's just like, when do we actually, I mean, without enabling a police state, is there some way we can fucking, get some of these assholes under control?
No.
And that's the sad thing, isn't it?
If this was a couple of years ago, maybe. I can see probably seeing some copycats. I can see probably seeing some other people being like multiple people doing more stupid stuff along the same lines of what he did to try to get their own channels or their own 5 minutes of fame. Mm-hmm. But nowadays, people see this kind of stuff and they're like, that's my livelihood. Like, people have gotten kind of hip to the idea that, like, I can do stupid stuff on stream. I could be a Greek God or a Tyler One or a Soda Poppin', but I can do it within... There's a border that I can stay within. And then you've got people on one side of that border who are smaller streamers or people who are trying to break in and are trying to, like, just be normal, like us and some other people that I know personally. And then you've got that other side of the border where you got people that are just, like, so out in the outfield at this point that the reason why they even have people watching their stuff 9 times out of 10 is because they just feed the trolls and they aren't really, they don't have a problem with it. They just go and, like, this is their entire MO, is just to do this kind of stuff. And it's like, while there may not be as many as there were a couple of years ago, there's still plenty of them out there. And, I mean, enough to fill, dozens of clip-based YouTube channels that just take clips of all of these popular streamers and throw them up on their YouTube channel because that's what gets their YouTube channel views and subscribers, because it's like being in multiple places at once. It's the train wreck analogy all over again. You don't really want to watch it, but you can't look away kind of thing. And it just kind of gets worse as it goes down the line, and you're just like, why am I still looking at this? But you can't stop. So it's like, I don't know, man. There's I think at the core of all of this, it's just you have people who are trying to basically be the next Howard Stern. They're trying to be the next,
Opie and Anthony.
Rowdy Ron in the morning. It's the KQNS fucking morning zoo or whatever. They're trying to be shock jocks, in essence. And it still sells. It still gets people to watch. It still gets people to listen. It still gets people to invest in the show because they want to see more. And it's come to that point where it's like there isn't ever really going to be a saturation point for that kind of stuff because there's always going to be someone else that does the next crazy stupid thing, gets put into the news because they do something ridiculously stupid and most likely illegal, get caught doing it, and then they end up in controversy. And then the next thing you know, they're back doing whatever it was that they were doing a couple of weeks later because that's how that kind of system works. So, ad revenue is ad revenue at the end of the day. And his channel will be up at some point, again, probably closer to the end of the month. Don't know. Don't care. But, man, it's just... This is why we can't have nice things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's just in general, we as a society kind of sort of are in the position, unfortunately, where sometimes we reward terrible people for doing terrible things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, immediately after all of this happened, and it's not related necessarily, but it is in terms of like how the fallout played out versus like what sort of discipline actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
I was just immediately reminded of the whole the whole Stardom thing that happened back in 2015
Mm-hmm.
with Yoshiko and Aki Yasukawa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for those who aren't horrible wrestling dorks, the wrestling company Wonder Ring Stardom is a Japanese Joshi promotion. They run women's wrestling to the exclusion of all else. And in 2015, they were running a show between two characters. One was a woman named Yoshiko, who was a giant monster of a woman who is legitimately a strong top-tier fighter type, like more capable of shoot wrestling, of legitimately beating the shit out of a person, because she's just a big monster of a woman. And the other person was a young woman named Aki Yasukawa, who was not. She's, small, flippy, had more of an artsy kind of persona. And there had been a small amount of interest building around this match in the US because, well, this was during the period where Japanese wrestling was first starting to become big outside of Japan. So, like, people were actually doing, like, English language profiles of Aki Yasukawa since she had, like, I believe it was cataract surgery because her eyes were, like, severely fucked up. And she had only within, like, the past year gotten both of her eyes functioning the way they're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So, match starts, and Yoshiko, for whatever reason, goes off script, beats the ever-loving, unmerciful shit out of Aki Yasukawa, breaks her fucking orbital bone. Made it so that, like, somebody else had to throw in the towel. It was just a completely unnecessary fucking shit show of violence. It was just the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Aki Yasukawa is so badly beaten because of this that she ends up having to retire from active professional wrestling and is just a manager at this point. So, she got the surgery to fix her eyes, gets into, like, her first match after having recovered from the surgery, and is beaten so badly by an opponent that she couldn't trust that she's, permanently retired.
Mm-hmm.
Yoshiko is forced into retirement by Wonder Ring Stardom. And then, like, a year later, comes out as part of another promotion and is just wrestling again. Like nothing happened. And she's like a top star for this promotion. So, like, there was no punishment. People are paying money to see this person wrestle. The total amount of discipline that she got out of this was she was asked to take a couple of months off, more or less.
Mm-hmm. This is pretty much like there's an incident in wrestling that just happened as well that you can practically say the same thing happened to Sexy Star. She broke a girl's arm.
Well, she's not wrestling, but yeah, no,
she's wrestling. No, she's wrestling. She's still wrestling. I saw her on the card for a couple of upcoming shows in AAA, and she's actually part of the roster.
Brought her back?
Oh yeah, and she's going to be part of Del Rio's new wrestling company. They had her listed on the roster.
That's not a surprise. Del Rio's a fucking piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. He's also awful, and everybody in that company has no idea how to bump. I've already seen 2 people get knocked out recently.
How about that clip I showed you last night, Jan?
Yeah, those 2. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, but yes,
so she broke. She was getting paranoid about whatever. Took liberties with her opponent Rosemary and legit broke her arm. And put her on the shelf for months, even though Sexy Star was still supposed to go over. Like, she was going to win. She had no reason to do this, and she took advantage of her opponent. And what happened about it? People were mad for a couple of months. She went into boxing for a period of time, and now she's back being a wrestler again.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happened. She was punished for a couple of months, maybe. And that's kind of where we are with this, you know. Twitch, like Penny Arcade, I don't really enjoy Penny Arcade as a property, but occasionally they still post comics that have an incisive view on the situation, and the comic that they posted is pretty incisive to this, where it's like somebody in the moderation team is like, this is an open and shut case. He filmed the minor in a bathroom. Permanent ban. And then, like, the leader of Twitch is like, well, you're saying permanent ban. I am saying a week, so let's compromise and say, like, 2 weeks or whatever like that. And I honestly would not be surprised to see him back on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably something that they're having a conversation about right now. Because if Twitch had told him, fuck you, you're gone forever,
I'll go to Mixer.
He'd go to Mixer. He'd go to YouTube. He'd go to DLive. He would already have a streaming platform up.
Yep.
If they had told him, you're not coming back, you can't appeal this, go away, he'd already be streaming. The fact that he isn't says that he's probably coming back.
Yeah.
But even if he doesn't, like, he's just going to go somewhere else. People are going to pay money to see his shit, and it's just not going to fucking matter.
And it's
not going to fucking matter.
And it just fucking sucks because now, in this day and age, because of platforms like Twitch and YouTube and so many influencers out in the world, these people have way too much power over the platforms that made them famous. To the point where
it's not even that they have power over the platforms that made them famous necessarily. It's that they have there's no accountability because they can just go somewhere else.
Yeah, no accountability. It's pretty much like Twitch's hands are tied right now. Like, okay, we'll just for the time being, we'll just ban you. We'll talk behind the scenes. You know, we'll let this die down or whatever, and then quietly bring you back. Oops, excuse me. They don't want to lose that massive amount of ad revenue that he brings in. So that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it really is. It's bullshit. That's really how you can sum this whole thing up.
It's probably not ad revenue so much as, direct money from people.
Yeah.
Like, ad revenue is great and whatnot, but
it's them biddies.
It's the bits. It's the subs.
Yep.
I accept bits.
Aye.
But anyway, so this thing at E3 happened. And it was probably one of the more exciting things to have happened at E3, sadly. So, let's talk about the other things at E3 that happened. You know what? Let's go around.
E3 was fine.
You thought E3 was fine. I thought it was outside of a couple of presentations. I thought it was probably one of the least exciting E3s in recent memory, to be truthfully honest. I'll let you go first, Mark, and you can tell us what you liked a lot about it and what you didn't like. Take all the time you need.
No, it's fucking internet dropped for a second.
Oh.
I've been having an issue where my internet has been like periodically dropping for a couple of seconds every like hour or so.
Oh.
So like
That sounds
you
awkward.
dropped out, so I didn't know that I was back until you said take all the time that you need. So I was like, oh. Yeah, like it's that's
Awkward
been happening.
silence.
Yeah, it's been fucking happening with watching like stuff on Twitch and everything else. It's annoying. And I don't know how to resolve it. I'm gonna have to call my cable provider probably tomorrow and be like, dude, what the fuck? But yeah, so like Jan and I sat down and actually did live streams for several of the shows. I was in chat with her during not the Xbox stream, but Ubisoft. No, not Ubisoft. Ubisoft. It was live for. What the fuck was that night that we were talking during?
Devolver?
I guess.
Devolver or Square Enix? Because I wasn't with you, but I did stream the Square Enix at the same time as you did.
Yeah. Okay. So that was the second day though, or
Right,
the third day.
So the ones that I did Microsoft.
If you did Microsoft, then that was what I was there for with you.
Yeah, you were in chat, but I did it solo. I was doing it with
yeah.
Mark. That's what it was. That's right.
Yeah, I was in chat with you for Microsoft, and then we did Ubisoft, the PC game show, or not the PC game show. We did Ubisoft,
Bethesda, Ubisoft, and Square Enix together.
and the one where they did all the indie stuff. Fucking.
Oh, the Kind of Funny.
The Kind of Funny one, yeah. There we go. So, I don't know. Like for the most part, I thought Jan and I kind of agreed like everything was fine. Oh, and we did Nintendo, I think.
Right, Nintendo.
We did Nintendo the following day, yeah. Like everything was generally fine. Microsoft and Nintendo both had really good presentations, I thought. Like, taking a look at it from the perspective of what games I'm interested in, to the exclusion of all else, I would say that both companies had their hits and their misses. But just taking a look at it from a perspective of how they presented their product, what they had to show, what they were doing, Microsoft definitely, if we acknowledge, as I said before when we were discussing this, if we acknowledge that Microsoft is the dead last company in the console generation at this point, they basically power bottomed E3 with their presentation.
Absolutely.
And Nintendo also did really damn good. Like, even if you're not sold on whatever games were being offered by one company or the other, from a presentation perspective, they both had a shitload of content to show off and were absolutely coming in guns blazing. Like, here's stuff that you should be interested in. Here's stuff that you should be paying attention to. And they both did extremely well, I felt.
Absolutely.
I think Microsoft was a combination of, like, Nintendo just does good in general. Like, it's not a surprise when Nintendo has a good show at this point. But with Microsoft, it was a combination of having done shows for multiple years and having failed multiple years in a row, and finally getting to the point of it's the game, stupid, and actually just focusing on what people want to fucking hear about.
Right.
Combined with the fact that Sony wasn't going to be there, and they were just like, all right, well, let's get in here and show off what we got to show off. Because we're running basically unopposed.
And they showed off a grand total of 60 games.
Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, like, outside of that, like, Square Enix was fine. Nothing that they really had to show was like, oh my god, you know, I'm having an accident in my pants or anything like that. But, you know, like, they were fine. They showed off what they needed to show off. The only thing that was kind of to me was I felt like they spent a little bit too much time on Avengers, which I wanted them to get to Avengers, but I didn't want them to spend 20 minutes on it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ubisoft was boring as shit, and as Jen and I both agreed after the fact, the what was it, Rainbow Six Siege game that they ran between
Lil Yachty and T-Pain.
Thank you, Lil Yachty and T-Pain, where basically T-Pain actually knew what he was doing.
It started off as
it started off as, oh my god, T-Pain actually knows what he's doing, and oh my god, Lil Yachty does not.
Yep.
But it ended with, holy shit, somebody get
ammunition,
some ice packs for her fucking back, because she carried the last few rounds on her by herself.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, holy shit, it was actually really enjoyable to watch, unlike the rest of Ubisoft's conference.
Mm-hmm. No, don't get me wrong. Doggo was cool.
Yeah, the dog was cute.
The whole Ghosts presentation wasn't awful. I kind of enjoyed that. It was kind of nice that they did. But yeah,
there was just not a lot going on at Ubisoft. It was not the weird craziness that we've come to expect from Ubisoft. It was just,
I mean, Just Dance showed up again and I'll get into that on mine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's Ubisoft. Ubisoft, I think, was just very confusing because on top of everything else, they didn't have a lot of games to show off that would have mattered. Like, they showed off the Ghost Recon game, which, cool. They showed off Watch Dogs, which is the first time I've actually been interested in a Watch Dogs in a while, because, yeah, Assassin Granny was great. But like, that was the major thing that everybody took away from this was, holy shit, Assassin Granny.
Absolutely.
Like, even MPI was saying, like, my whole team is just going to be
Assassin grandmas.
Old assassins. Yes, it's just going to be old assassin grandmas. That's just the whole thing I'm going to make. And I was like, all right, I'm down with that. But outside of that, they're like, oh, well, here's a mobile phone game featuring Sam Fisher for the first time in, like, 8 years. And it was like, motherfucking what?
Oh, yeah, Tom Clancy's Elite Agents.
Yeah.
Sadness.
Yeah, and it's just like,
not like this.
Yeah. But
Not
it's just
like
beyond
this.
that, like again, like that was mostly a 2-game show.
Yeah.
They had Ghost Recon, they had Watch Dogs.
Yep.
Bethesda was like a 1-game show. They had stuff. They had. I'm sorry, it was a 2-game show because they had footage to show off of Wolfenstein. But they had the upcoming Wolfenstein game and Doom. And then the rest of what they showed us was either a bunch of shit nobody could have possibly cared about.
Commander Keen, though!
No, hold on. We'll put that aside. Put that aside. A bunch of shit nobody cared about. Put that aside. A bunch of shit nobody could have possibly cared about.
Jan, put it in a box and push it over for a little bit.
A trailer for the one thing that might have actually been interesting that they had no gameplay footage of, which was that time loop game, Deathloop, whatever it was, which looked really interesting, but you have absolutely nothing to show me about this game. So it's another fucking Elder Scrolls 6 where it's like, oh, here's a trailer, we won't see anything about it for 2 years, fuck off. And then the Commander Keen mobile phone game, which, on top of resurrecting a brand that is relevant to, like, us, because we're all old enough to remember that, and, like, nobody fucking else. Like, even the word keen is not in common vernacular at this point. Like, I don't, like, you're literally resurrecting this as a shitty mobile phone game for small children, and I can immediately see the ways in which it's going to be a freemium piece of shit, and it just makes me achingly angry every moment that I'm awake.
Wasn't it like a TD or something like that, too?
A what?
Tower defense?
No. It's like some sort of shitty, like, platforming thing where you get like little power-ups that you can use to do stuff with it. It just looks terrible.
That's awful. Why?
But I mean, by and large, outside of, like, as far as just going with the Square Enix conference, the Nintendo conference, the Microsoft conference, it was fine. the Kind of Funny conference showed us a bunch of games that I was definitely interested in, and I know Jan was interested in.
Mm-hmm.
They had a bunch of indie games that were on display that looked really cool. The space one was really cool.
That Rob is like, I gotta play that game.
Yeah, the one where it was like Space Cthulhu shit, and I was like, yes, give me, give me. Like, I immediately added that to my fucking wish list. Like, as soon as that comes out, I'm buying that. That's gonna be awesome. So it's like, you know, I was not disappointed with anything that I walked into because I walked in with no expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect that anything was going to be good. So when you're giving me conferences that I already expected to be kind of mediocre being mediocre, and then the conferences that I was like, well, maybe, and they actually delivered and then some, yeah, I thought it was pretty good, all in all. I thought it went well.
I had to watch it.
Okay, shall I go next, Jen? Okay, I'll have the floor. So, I didn't watch all of the E3 presentations. I was sadly at work, but I did manage to watch what I could. When I got home, I did watch the Microsoft one, and it was all right in my personal opinion. There were a lot of games that I was very interested in. Probably the one that I'm most interested in, though, that wasn't announced for any presentation. It was actually announced a couple days before, was Baldur's Gate 3, and it's being brought to us by the wonderful people at Larian Studios. I have a fucking hard-on for that game right now. I want more of that, please.
Blech.
I don't want to know anything about your penis, Robert.
No.
I don't give a shit.
I will hang up right now, motherfucker. Don't think I will.
I'm not stopping you.
Oi.
But anyway, so Microsoft's presentation, there was a few games that I thought were interesting. I'm a little mixed on some of the ones that I saw. Like, I don't really care much for the Gears of War franchise, although I am kind of interested in 5 for a little bit. I mean, it's probably the first one.
I will actually note, as an aside, though, the one thing that I did really like about Microsoft's was the Game Pass thing.
Yeah, I was going to get to that.
Yeah, I went and signed up for that like as soon as it was done, and I don't regret it.
Yeah. Battletoads? I don't know. I mean...
Fuck that!
Like, I don't know. I want it to be good. I want it to play good. I don't like how it looks. It looks like a really bad Newgrounds Flash game.
It has the same aesthetic as that shitty reboot of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Which one?
The most recent one.
Oh, the Rise of the TMNT.
Most of the reboots of Ninja Turtles. Most of the reboots of Ninja Turtles have generally been fine. Even the 3D animated one I thought was okay. The modern one where Raphael is Leonardo and Leonardo is Raphael.
The leadership roles have swapped. Yeah.
The leadership roles and the personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just deeply confusing to me. And it really pisses me off too, because we're once again in the position where I don't like this thing, but I still have to defend it from the idiots on the internet who hate it for the wrong fucking reason.
Yep.
With the Ninja Turtles, I have to be like, I don't like this, but all of you people who are mad April O'Neil's black can die in a fire. And in this thing, it's like, I don't like the aesthetic of this, but all of you who are mad that the Dark Queen is wearing clothes can fall down some stairs. Because
I don't have a problem with that, to be truthfully honest. It's just that the art style, to me, just...
absolutely. I agree.
It looks lazy.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think the art looks bad. I legitimately think the aesthetic of the game is ass. But
I agree with you.
I specifically also have to defend the fact that, like, no, the problem with the game isn't that the Dark Queen is wearing clothes. Okay? she looked like a Frank Frazetta painting when she came out, but it's not the fucking 90s anymore. Women can and should be drawn in clothes if that's what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, that's fine. It's your fucking aesthetic. Let's not be fucking mad that they put her in, like, an outfit that doesn't look like it's going to hurt to breathe.
Yeah.
Right. That's all I'm saying.
Please.
But,
for fuck's sake.
Other things... I was really fascinated about the xCloud gaming service that Microsoft is currently working on, which makes me think, how long have they been working on this? And is this the reason why Google is pushing out the Stadia as quickly as they are at the end of the freaking year?
I think the two are generally unrelated, but it wouldn't surprise me. I think both are a bad idea, frankly.
Of course.
But Microsoft is in a better position to at least attempt to leverage that than Google is.
And yeah, they're also saying that one of the things I find interesting about it is with the Google Stadia, no matter where you are, you have to connect to one of their servers around the world. With Xbox, xCloud Gaming, you can use your own Xbox as the cloud service, like as the hub. Whereas, or if you're not, you can use one of their centers, which I'm sure Microsoft is going to have quite a lot of those around the United States. And I would have a much better time trusting their cloud gaming service over Google's untested service, even though Microsoft's is untested as well. I have a much better chance of trusting Microsoft over Google on something like that.
Well, but also remember that it's being backed by Azure, so there's a lot of pedigree in the Microsoft cloud versus the Google cloud. So,
I mean, to be fair, it's not like Google doesn't have their own cloud-based services in some form or fashion. Like, we're already familiar with Google having a certain degree of cloud accessibility through the way of, the Google Drive service. It's not quite the same thing, but it's in the same general wheelhouse. Google has an understanding of how to do cloud-based stuff. Like, of all the reasons that you could be critical of the Stadia project, Google's pedigree absolutely should not be one of those reasons. Google absolutely knows what they're doing, and they absolutely have the tech know-how to back it up. I just think that in general, cloud gaming in this fashion is an ill-conceived, ill-equipped, bad idea right now, and will be for a while. Something that somebody else brought up to me that I hadn't really thought about at the time. If you have a bandwidth cap, fuck you.
Pretty much.
Absolutely.
But also, like, this problem that I'm having right now with my internet. This has been going on for almost 2 weeks.
Yep. Yeah.
And
stuff like
if
that.
I had Google Stadia, if I drop connection for a couple of seconds, what happens? Because I know what happens when I'm on Xbox Live. I get disconnected.
And I remember all the comments I was seeing on Twitter when YouTube went down a couple of days ago. A lot of people were on Twitter. It's like, so Google, with YouTube going down, you really expect us to bind to the Stadia?
I mean, to be fair, like that can fucking happen. But it's just, again, like that sort of a thing is, well, that can happen, and they resolved it quick enough that it wasn't a big issue. I'm not looking at temporary outages as a problem. I think people saying that kind of stuff is just like, come on, really?
No, the big problem is, why am I still paying $50, $60 for a game off of their service?
Yeah, you don't own it.
Exactly.
Why am I going to pay you $60 for something that I literally don't own? I can't
You're just
back
renting
up.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay you $60 for a fucking rental. Eat shit.
Right, and with the thing with xCloud is you'd own it because it's your media on your Xbox that you're playing anywhere you want to.
Yep.
So it's all your content. That's the big differentiation here, is that Stadia is streaming. It's like online. Not going to do good. But then you've got xCloud, and xCloud is actually going to function in a better capacity because xCloud is being used from your own console with your own owned games. So it's a completely different, world that we're dealing with at that point.
Yep.
Right, like even if I have a Steam game that gets delisted in some capacity or another, so long as I have it physically installed to my device, I still have it. We're running into that problem now with the Telltale games, right?
Yep.
Where these games are being delisted or are already delisted, and you still have access to them if you've installed them. You still have access to them if you've downloaded them. Even if you bought them through Steam, so long as they are presently installed on your hard drive, you still have access to them. Now, if you want to install them, you're probably fucked. But at the very least, so long as you have committed the space to them, you can play them and do whatever.
Yeah.
If you have something on Stadia, you don't even have a local copy of that. If they delist something, they've removed it from your profile. You just never have access to it again.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'd like to.
And it's the thing is, if I'm doing, No, that's fine. It's just I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, it's that idea in general is terrible, but at the very least, Microsoft isn't as terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly feel that this xCloud versus Stadia conversation is something for a future conversation, to be truthfully honest, especially since of how in depth we went into it. But I'd like to continue on. So with hey Kitty, along with Xbox's E3 presentation, thank you, Mark, for thinking about my bowel well-being when they announced Phantasy Star Online 2 coming to the West, courtesy of Microsoft.
I was absolutely positive that you were just going to shit yourself and die right there.
Well, my underoos were clean, thank you very much.
It's like, what happened, Robert? I shitted and farted and died.
I blew my pants.
But, yeah, so that was probably one of the best announcements for me, was to finally see a Western release announced. Not sure if it's confirmed for Europe, but definitely for the U.S. next year, spring 2020. For both PC and Xbox One, Microsoft will be providing the servers, and then people
Switch and PS4.
But I'm assuming those are going to be it's going to be time exclusive for PC and Xbox for the time being, because I mean Microsoft says that they're going to be providing the servers for those as well.
Did they say definitely they're going to be doing Switch and PS4?
Yeah, yes.
Ooh.
Nelson came out and said that, Major Nelson.
Neat.
So
the only thing we have no confirmation on is whether or not the existing servers are going to be hosted, or if they're going to simply create an entirely brand new state of servers at the current actual content point when they release in 2020.
Yeah.
AKA, do you get to use your character that you've been playing for 8 fucking years or not in the US?
Which I highly doubt, considering that requires Play Sega server verification.
It just requires a Sega ID. No, all it does is
Sega ID, that's what I meant to say.
ID. All they have to do is convert Sega IDs from Japan only to a global path, and the account is usable in the States.
And they've had the Sega ID going on since 2004 when they released Blueburst, and they never decided to bring it over. So, oh well.
Blueburst had a US release.
I said Blueburst had a US release, but they didn't use the Sega ID.
No, because you just logged directly into the original copies of Blueburst. The secondary version that they released started using Sega ID. But Sega ID at that point,
the Japanese version, I got to play the Japanese version of Blueburst before it was brought to the States, and they did use Sega ID. Mm-hmm. But when they brought it to the States, it did not use Sega ID. It used their own. They used the same cryptic bullshit that they did with Phantasy Star Universe, Enguard, or whatever it was called.
Well, you know that you have to have a Sega ID for PSO Episode 2 when it came out in Japan on Dreamcast. So it's been out a lot longer than that. So 2002?
No, I think that was back when they had a Sega. That was back when they had Sega Net, when they tried their own version.
Sega Net became Sega ID.
Yeah, but Sega Net was what they called it in the U.S. I don't know if that's what they called it in Japan.
It was all Sega Net until they turned it into the Sega ID when Blueburst.
I'm really glad that we stopped having that Google Stadia conversation so that we could have this conversation about the draconian mechanics of walking into Sega IDs.
Yeah.
this was definitely an improvement, guys.
It absolutely is. But moving on, one of the things I really loved, I really enjoyed Nintendo's presentation. I mean, Nintendo just really knows what they're doing with these things, and a lot of these games I'm just really excited for. I watched their tree houses, especially the Zelda Link's Awakening tree house. I'm so fucking happy to get that game when it comes out into this year. I'm just not so happy about the difference in collector's editions that are going to be released between here in Europe and Japan. Europe's looks really nice.
I guess you're just going to have to get more than one.
I guess so. Bethesda, you're about 8 months too late in regards to all the fixes and great things you got coming towards Fallout 76. I mean, really? Now you're considering adding NPCs to the fucking game?
No, they're definitely going to. Can I tell you, I booted that game up just to see how it was, and I was actually pretty impressed with all the changes that they had made functionally.
Yeah. It's just like the progress they did with Elder Scrolls Online. The game wasn't that great when it came out, but they kept listening to all the feedback, and Elder Scrolls Online is one of the best MMOs out there right now. I haven't played it in a while. In fact, Elsewhere just released just before E3, and I plan on getting that expansion. But from what it looks like, I might actually end up going back to Vault 76 because I hear a lot of great things about all the changes and fixes that they're doing to the game. And a lot of the stuff they're showing off at E3 really got me kind of excited to play the game again, especially when this huge content packet comes out end of the year for the 1-year anniversary.
Yeah, the only thing that was really frustrating to me was I was trying to renovate my house, and I can't build far enough out into the water to properly set up the fucking power anymore. So now it's like I have a whole different set of problems now that shit works the way that it's supposed to, and it's like, god damn it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm mad that the stuff works the way that it's supposed to, or that it's still fucking broken, or that it's just broken in different ways.
Sometimes, it's just enjoyable even in its worst state.
Oh,
yeah, I mean it's functional, it works, it does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
I'm at the point now where I feel as though I can say, if you get it for $20, it's probably worth the investment.
Yeah.
I wouldn't spend any more than that because I still think they have a lot of work to do. But I'm not as mad at the game as I was when I played it the first time.
Yeah, I'm not as mad at it. I'm actually very optimistic and looking forward to it, so I'll probably be hopping on closer to its big packet update come October. The next thing, fucking Doom Eternal. Jesus Christ, that game just looks amazing and looks so much fun. And I love a lot of the little touches they're doing. Like, I'm pretty sure I saw in the background the icon of Sin. They brought back the classic Cyber Demon look, which was fucking awesome. They actually remodeled a lot of the weapons to look just like their original Doom counterparts. Little touches, and I know you don't care, Jan.
No, I do care. I like Doom. I just don't like enough. I don't care about old Doom enough that it's I'm drooling. Doom looked great. Please don't get me wrong. Eternal looks amazing. It basically reminded me of what Quake and Quake 2 basically were all about. That whole era of Quake 2, Quake 3, Unreal Tournament 2004, that whole era of just ridiculously fast-paced arcade-style beat-em-up explosion shooter. That is my jam. Please don't get me wrong. That is my jam.
You should pick up Ion Maiden then.
But man, it just I'm not so hardcore into the old Doom because it's just kind of clunky to me. But
the problem right
Doom
now,
2016 was mwah.
I mean, I agree with you on that. Right now, the only problem I have is the only thing they have going for Doom Eternal is one multiplayer mode, which is the Slayer versus Demons,
the 2-on-1 Slayer Demon mode.
Slayer Demon mode, which is just that looks interesting.
Multiplayer boss fight, let's go.
Yeah, but at the same time, where's the traditional deathmatch? I mean, that was something people bitched about hardcore when 2016 came out, and now they're omitting it again.
I'm sure they're probably looking towards something like that, but this is just the thing that they're showing off right now.
So, okay. Now, the last one I got to see was Square Enix. Final Fantasy VII looked amazing. I really can't wait to get it. One of the other reasons why I wanted to see Final Fantasy VII is because I really wanted to just watch the internet lose its shit when they debuted Tifa. And I thought Tifa looked amazing. And I was quite shocked at how well behaved the internet was for the most part. I mean, yes, there were people out there who were pissed off at her nerfs, but I'm surprised by how well the internet took her redesign, to be honest.
Her back is thanking her for it. It's not a big deal.
I have no problem with it. I like, if anything, the boss battle with the giant mecha scorpion was just fucking way more epic than I think it needed to be for a first boss fight, to be truthfully honest.
It had a very Monster Hunter-esque aesthetic
it
to it.
It did. I think it was a little too over the top, to be truthfully honest.
I'm okay with that.
I mean, over the top is great, but when you make a boss battle that amazing, and then you got to remember, I think they said they're actually going to still do the episodic content with Final Fantasy VII. So
yes,
and it's going to be 2 discs. They say for the first game, and each Blu-ray can now hold up to an excess of 129 gigs of information on it. And they're saying the first part of the game is literally going to be
that's only if you're using
Midgar.
double density Blu-ray discs, and I don't know if they're doing that for certain.
Yeah, but now here's the thing. In the original Final Fantasy VII, Midgar was only a 6-hour romp at best if you're just casually playing the game. How the hell are you going to stretch that section of the game up to like a 30, 40, maybe even a 50-hour adventure? Like, how much additional content are you going to be jumping in with? Well, I mean, and this is what's also considered the fact that they haven't even introduced Red 13 yet, who was the last character you gain in Midgar before you go exploring.
So keep in mind that, like, what you saw in the trailers and what they showed off at the demo on the floor was condensed content. There was a behind-the-scenes demo that showed off everything, and it was so much more. You know, most of the people did, like, the entire bombing run in a condensed fashion was, like, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. And the extended version, or the more complete version, was probably double that.
Mm-hmm.
So if the bombing run alone takes 2 hours, like, yeah, that's going to be really easy to meet that quota.
Yeah, because
I gotta be honest. If the bombing run's taking 2 hours, go fuck yourself, Square Enix. You're having a serious fucking problem with economy of storytelling at that point. It's like, you don't need your game to be that fucking long. You do not.
I'm not gonna argue.
I'm sorry, does anybody need to fucking spend 2 hours, an hour, doing the first dungeon in the game? I don't.
No.
I mean, if it's considerably mostly just combat, then, you know, but if it's a solid mix of what's actually going on with cutscenes plus combat plus travel time, I think an hour is a generous number.
Agreed.
And I think that's, you know, you're hitting a point where you're a little oversaturated to a point where it might be too long, it might not be long enough, based on how the game itself actually plays out. From what a lot of people were saying, it was about 45 minutes to do the entire bombing run, which is, again, that could be very generous. It may take less, it may take longer. But, a generous estimate of 45 minutes just to do the initial sequence still gives us more than enough time to put what we need to into what we're getting out of a double disc for the Midgar Saga.
One of the last things I saw that actually kind of got me excited was they finally announced, the collections of Mana, which is out now digitally, but I pre-ordered a physical copy for that. What I'm also excited is they also announced a 3D remake of the third game of the Mana series, which we know is Second Densetsu 3. Never was released in the US. It was the second game on the Super Nintendo. I got a repro card of it, and I fucking love the game. And they're going to do a remake of that, and they've renamed it Trials of Mana, and shit, I'll buy the game a third time. I don't give a fuck. It looked great. And yeah, that's really about it for me. I mean, Nintendo did great. They hit it out of the ballpark. I mean, I expected them to do that campy-ass fucking Bowser joke at the very beginning. And, you know what? Okay.
It was cute.
Good on you.
It was.
It was.
I wasn't mad about it.
No. I know. I expected it, and they did it well. I enjoyed it. Square Enix probably had in my opinion, Square Enix probably had the second best presentation of what I've seen. Microsoft had a very solid showing. I'm looking forward to what they might have to say in regards to Scarlet going forward. Disappointed, of course, but not surprised that with Ubisoft, there was no Beyond Good and Evil. Whoop-de-doo. And I'm so shocked at that. And,
that's absolutely not a priority for them.
No,
not at all.
It's never been a priority for them, which is why it was on the back burner for almost like 10 years before they decided to try to restart the program. But I think it might be on the back burner again because the reception to it is like non-existent. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So, hey, Jan, it's your turn.
Oh, is it me? I get to talk about what I liked? Okay.
No.
Oh, okay.
You can just talk about stuff, and then me and Mark will take over and talk about it.
Got it. So, let's hear it. So, I watched a majority of the conferences. A couple of them I skipped just because, I don't care about Devolver. They have good games. Please don't get me wrong. I just don't care about their conference. I caught
Apparently
the tail
their
end
conference
of
was
it.
incredibly weird this year.
Oh God, it was basically a giant Terminator reference. It's like, okay, well, James Cameron, you did a thing, I guess.
They did that 3 different times this year with the Terminator. That was so weird.
It was Gears, the Devolver, and
Mortal Kombat. Oh, I want to.
Someone had a
Gears
fade out
one.
Gears was the first one because you get a scan if you pre-order.
Right.
The end of the Devolver Digital Conference had a Terminator reference. Come with me if you want to live. Da 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 at the very end of it. And then there was a third one that played some music, and I want to say it was Ubisoft, but I don't remember. But anyway, so Microsoft started off. Okay, let me rephrase that. EA started things off. I did actually catch the beginning of the EA stuff, purely just because I was interested in the Jedi Fallen Order gameplay, which does look very good. It's kind of Sekiro, kind of Jedi Knight, kind of...
Is it single player or multiplayer? Because there's no future in multiplayer.
It is a single player only game.
Good.
With apparently no plans for multiplayer. It is purely a single-player, story-based experience. Has a very Sekiro Jedi Knight vibe to it. So I'm kind of excited for that. The only reason the EA conference was even remotely entertaining was because of the fact that I basically had to turn it down other than when I was listening to gameplay stuff. Because if you didn't, you got your eardrums popped because everyone was literally shouting. Because, hey, by the way, did you know that if you shout, you're hype? That was basically the entire EA conference. If you shout, you're hype.
You're breathtaking.
That was Microsoft.
Yeah, you're breathtaking. Yeah.
No, you're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking.
No, you're breathtaking. Yeah.
Microsoft was amazing. I thought they had a really solid showing this year, which is a far cry from
past.
No, that's Ubisoft.
Oh. The Keanu Reeves bit with Cyberpunk was pretty solid. He was kind of being adorable. The breathtaking thing was cute.
The fact that he created the meme of "check this out" immediately afterward was an unintended but awesome side effect.
I also like the fact that I think the best one I've seen so far is the one where he says "check this out" and it's the DVD logo hitting the direct corner.
Yeah,
I thought that one was pretty solid. That one's probably one of my favorite. That, and I think the JoJo's opening. People are like, "Hey, what's a really good anime? Check this out, JoJo's." So whatever. A meme is a meme is a meme, and that's something that's going to happen. I was blown away by the fact that they actually were able to announce PSO2 in the States. I'm still questioning a couple of things about how the whole account situation is going to pan out, but we've got plenty of time for that. Mm-hmm. Gosh, what else did they announce at Microsoft that I actually thought was kind of blow me away? Gears was okay. I like Gears well enough that I'll probably play 5. I did like the escape mode. I thought that mode was actually really ingenious. It's a nice take on Horde mode, and I kind of like the way they kind of put it together. Oh, right. I enjoyed the fact that Microsoft rammed their fist square up Epic Games' ass, because they was like, haha! Fuck you! Because they basically said that there's a bunch of games that will be released on the Xbox Games Pass for PC. And when they announced that, I immediately looked at the list. And, oh, by the way, if you really want to play Metro Exodus and you don't want to give money to Epic, get the Xbox Game Pass. It's $1 for the first month, and it has Metro Exodus on it. So that's a thing. Pretty sure Outer Worlds is going to be on there as well. So... pretty sure that they're going to be talking with a couple of other companies to try to get them too, because they own them now. So those games will probably also be on the Xbox Game Pass. I'm looking at you, Shenmue 3. So yeah, there are some games that will be owned by Microsoft in some capacity that will be on the Xbox Game Pass for PC. Like it's an inevitability. They will be on there. Because Microsoft just basically said, as Phil said during the conference, and they said, as we spoke about previous E3 on the Xbox Wire, they are diehard gamers are gamers anywhere they go on any platform they choose, be it Xbox, PC, or mobile. We're going to provide our games to the best possible audience across the most amount of platforms that we can possibly do it on, and that's one of the ways they're going to do it, which is sending a giant shaft up Epic's ass, basically telling them, yeah, we owned them too, so no, we get to put our own games on our own launcher, thanks, bye. So yeah, again, that's just a thing. What was the game? There was a new game that I just saw recently. What was it? Like it's kind of controversial because like, oh no, kid, I love you, but no, come here.
Step on the keyboard, kitty.
No, he's trying to lay down on the mouse on the trackpad, and I'm like, no, that's fine. There was one that just got announced recently, and I can't remember what it was. Shit. But they basically were like an unconfirmed platform has approached us to exclusively launch our new game. Oh, it was SNK. SNK was approached at E3. The heads of Samurai Showdown, who were showing it on the floor at E3, were approached by marketing people from Epic Games and were asked if they would like to launch Samurai Showdown on PC in a few months exclusively on Epic. Now, they didn't say that it was Epic. We're all positive it was Epic. And Samurai Showdown heads basically said, we were recently approached by an unnamed PC platform company to exclusively launch Samurai Showdown on their platform. However, we are aware that our game will, and I swear to God, I'm not like making this up. This is how it was quoted. Our game will sell more than 1 million copies. Therefore, we will not be exclusively launching it on said unnamed platform. So not only did SNK basically tell Epic, nah, bro, right to their face at E3 on the show floor, they also flat out said, we're gonna sell at least 1 million copies, if not more than 1 million copies. Which, if you understand what that means, on Steam, if you break 1 million sales, if you break 1 million copies of sales, you are no longer bound to the baseline of the 80-20 structure for payouts to Steam. It drops down to the 1788 or 17, whatever it is, the same share base that Epic offers out of the gate.
Yeah, which is not necessarily the way I would have wanted to phrase it if I were them. Like that kind of sort of.
Oh yeah, no, it's cocky. That's probably the nice way of putting it.
Well, not even that. No. Like that's it's if you don't, oops. But no, like it kind of sort of doesn't really address the issue because like it's definitely cocky in a haha fuck you Randy Pitchford kind of way, which that's great. That's hilarious to me because fuck Randy Pitchford, but.
You just want to say fuck Randy Pitchford. Don't make any excuses.
No, if I wanted to say fuck Randy Pitchford, I don't need an excuse to say it. I'm just saying it because it's contextually relevant.
Exactly.
But the thing that's kind of frustrating to me is that if you're saying it like that, like you're not really addressing why people would want to be on Epic. And I think that if you're in that kind of a position where you're going to move those kind of units, like maybe use your voice for good, and dunk on Epic, but also simultaneously say, "Come on, Steam, what the fuck are you doing?"
And here's why you dunk on Epic. it's not just dunk on Epic and be like, haha, we dunked on Epic. You're going to buy our game now, aren't you? Right? Because that's, a complete sort of left field. You've shot the basket and it's gone over the backboard. It's not only are we going to sell 1 million copies because we know our game is that good, we're also going to let you know that the reason why we're not going to be on your platform is because we don't feel like the game should be stuck behind an exclusive wall.
Yeah.
We want everyone to play our game. And the only way that we know that we're going to be able to do that right is this way. And that would have been a more appropriate answer. But heat of the moment, what are you going to do?
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, outside of that, I think... Gosh, what else was at Microsoft? They had a couple of other good games, a couple of announcements. I still have no idea how it happened, but Microsoft bought Double Fine, so we're getting Psychonauts 2, so I'm kind of happy about that.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure that one out, too.
I'm not a fan of Psychonauts as a franchise, and I'm not a fan of Double Fine as a developer, but I'm very happy for the people who are fans of both Double Fine and Psychonauts that they're getting this.
Oh, for sure. And I think we talked about that in chat when that actually happened. I think those were your exact words. While I'm not personally a fan of it, I'm happy for those who are, and I'm the same way. Like, I actually enjoyed the first Psychonauts, and so the fact that we're finally getting announcements and we're probably actually going to see a release for Psychonauts 2, I'm pretty happy about that. I watched the tail end of the Devolver Digital one. It was weird. It had the Terminator reference. Then it went into this weird... Oh, God, how do they put it? It's the it was the third or fourth first ever pre-show, which was, again, hosted by Devolver Digital, which was basically cringe to be cringe, and it was awful. And I don't even understand what it was that I was watching, and I eventually just kind of turned it off, and I'm just like, I'm scarred for life, and that was nightmare fuel. Good night. It was bad. Ubisoft was pretty decent. I don't tend to play a lot of those games consistently enough that a lot of the content was really a big deal. I did actually enjoy the new operator that they announced for Rainbow Six Siege, because he's actually not terrible. The U.S. Secret Service guy, I thought that was pretty neat. Ghostwire as a trailer had a lot of Kojima vibes. It also had the adorable Japanese girl who also ended up becoming an instant waifu and was memed to high heaven, and everyone was very, very adorable and protective of her. And anyone that said, hey, we're going to Rule 34 this, and the collective internet said, no, you're not.
Ghost Recon Breakpoint, that's what the other Terminator thing was.
Oh, it was Ghost Recon. I thought it was Ubisoft. So yeah, so then Ghost Recon had a thing for Terminator, so like James Cameron put as many plugs for it. And I think we actually made it, we actually had a talking point on that. I believe Mark had said something about the fact that if James Cameron was really looking to do any sort of licensing for this franchise at this point, knowing full well that any other movie tie-in video game generally is crap, this is the way to do it.
Yeah, like my talking point was, given the choice between attaching your property to franchises that are already going to be making good products, or trying to make your own game, considering what a fucking Mongolian clusterfuck the last Terminator video game was, I think they made the right call.
Yeah, considering
slap the Terminator name on every fucking game that you can that isn't yours, and let the branding go that way.
Yeah, and I think that the baseline, the last good Terminator game that I played was the old light gun shooter game from like 2000. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think that was like the only good Terminator game, period.
No.
Yeah.
The Sega CD game had an awesome soundtrack, but it wasn't very good as a game.
It was a decent game. There was Skynet.
It wasn't great.
Was good.
It wasn't great.
Skynet was. I enjoyed Skynet. I, to a degree, enjoyed Terminator 2029, and I know how much you hate it. So go suck a lemon.
That's the Bethesda one, right? Yeah.
Well, Bethesda had the Terminator license for literally the early 90s to like 96, 97.
Which one is Terminator 2029?
It's the one that plays more like a dungeon crawler.
Yeah, that's the one from Bethesda.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
so is Skynet.
I'll have to go back to that eventually and try it again just to see, but I really remember that game being really fucking bad.
Yeah.
I know it was extremely time-consuming, and you really had to... There was a lot of chance involved with that game, as opposed to actually planning things out, to be truthfully honest. That's what I remember.
Yeah. Well, it's abandonware, so I guess if I want to set up a DOS box, I could play it.
Yeah, that's what I did. I was thinking about streaming it, to be truthfully honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but Bloodstained came out, so...
Yeah.
Yay, a good Kickstarter game came out.
Man, it looks amazing, by the way.
Yeah, I've been asking people just to be sure before I invest money in it, but everything I've heard was really good. It's like the second good Kickstarter video game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
that's not really fair. I mean, like,
there was Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. They were
good.
Kickstarters, and they were good.
Manhattan Time wasn't awful.
There've been several good Kickstarter games, but I'm just being facetious. But
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but what else did you like, Jan? What else did you not like?
Let's see here. So, Deathloop looks interesting. Ghostwire looks interesting. Obviously,
Deathloop,
I have
is that the one with? Sorry to interrupt. Deathloop. That's the one where they had the husband and wife dying over and over again from a home invasion.
No,
that's
12 minutes.
Yes,
12
that
minutes.
was Bethesda.
Oh, that was okay. I was trying to remember who it was. I thought I saw that during the Microsoft presentation. I was wrong.
That was during the Microsoft presentation. 12 minutes was during the Microsoft presentation.
Oh, right. I'm thinking of something else. Anyway, never mind.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Deathloop was Bethesda.
Deathloop is Bethesda.
Okay.
That's right. I'm getting them backwards. Anyway, so no, 12 minutes was the family. No, Deathloop is the one where it's the two assassins trying to constantly kill each other, and then it restarts.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Ghostwire was the one that was super Kojima-esque, with random weird ghost dudes making people disappear and leaving only their clothes behind. I don't know what to expect from that game, but that's the one that had adorable Japanese girl that got turned into an instant waifu.
Mm-hmm.
Doom Eternal looks amazing. It reminds me a lot of Quake, and I'm very, very, very excited for that because, I mean, why wouldn't I? The atmosphere of the demo was amazing. Proving yet again that just because Doom Guy likes to kill shit doesn't mean he's going to kill everything. He's not a raging psychotic bastard. He's actually really kind of a nice guy to humans. He's not out to kill humans. He's out to kill demons. He's relatively nice to most of them. In fact, the best example of the fact that he's mostly a nice guy to humans in general was the point where he comes walking through this sort of lead-in area to where you see the BFG 10,000 off in the distance, and all of these evil eyes and cyber demons flying off into the distance in this massive aerial battle on the surface of I don't know. It's on the surface of a planet. And he's walking through this military installation, and he comes all the way to the end where you need the key card, and there's a guy sitting in a chair, and he's kind of like, "Ooh, you're Doom Guy." And he kind of just looks at the guy, like, kind of nonchalantly, like, he doesn't actually say anything. He just nonchalantly reaches down gently, takes the key card on his lanyard, drags him over gently to the key card reader, swipes it, gives him back his key card, and wanders off. And then sees these two Marines standing at the doorway and like, "Hey, who are you? You can't be here." And they're like, "Oh shit, it's Doom Guy." And he looks at this guy's weapon. He's like, "I'll take that." "That's good. Let's go." And you see him walk onto this elevator, and it slowly pans down, and the music crescendos, and you're like, "Oh, it's on." And you're like, "Yeah, let's fucking kill some demons." Like, you can feel just like, you would feel the same way he would feel. It's like, yeah, we're gonna wreck shit. It's gonna be great. Like, that whole atmosphere, plus, you know, Mick Gordon music in the background just grinding away as it slowly gets to that point. You're just like, it's just like the opening aesthetic from the original Doom 2016, where you go through and you do all of this crazy shit, and you kill a few dudes, and at the very end, you find the shotgun, you get in the elevator, you get all the way to the top, and the music cuts right as he cocks the shotgun, and you're like, oh, let's go! And you just want to fucking start murdering shit, and you're like, oh, it felt the same way. And it's just like, all right, that's the way to do it. Like, if you're gonna hype this visceral first-person shooter that has defined again and again the first-person shooter genre, that's how you do it. Hands down, that's how you do it. And I felt like blown away by how just amazingly atmospheric and solid Doom Eternal felt, because that's what it do.
So is it unanimous amongst us three that game of E3 was Doom Eternal? I think it was.
It was great. It was a great reveal, but it is not my game of E3.
Oh, no. Really?
No.
What would that be for you guys?
I mean, for me personally, I know this is a controversial point of view, so that's fine. Doom as an experience kind of washed over me when it came out.
Yeah, we went over this when we did the 25th anniversary episode last year.
Yeah, it's. I enjoy the game. I'm glad that it exists, but it didn't impact me in a way that was like transcendent or anything like that. So, like, I played it, I enjoyed it, and then I stopped playing it, and I forgot about it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have any one particular game of the show, honestly. Like, there was nothing that reached out and grabbed me and was like, you need to fucking pay attention to this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, I think the Cthulhu Moon game might be close to that one.
oh yeah, no, absolutely. That was about as close as I would say I can reasonably get.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the fucking name of it now. But I mean, beyond that, like there was a lot of stuff that I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm glad that this exists.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play. Yeah, Moons of Madness. I'm absolutely looking forward to that one. That game looked rad as shit. But
I know Rob's interested in it, so
yeah. But beyond that, like, you know, there wasn't any one particular game where I was like, oh my god, hooray, I need to play this. It was just a lot of stuff where I was like, oh, that's cool. And, you know, I paid attention to it, and that was where it went.
Yeah.
Like, the thing that was, I think, the best for me, best in show overall, was the Games Pass for Xbox, just because, you know, again, I installed like 20 fucking games on my computer. I'm sorry, on my Xbox One. And I was like, okay, I can play for the next few months, and I spent like $1 on it. That's neat.
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't any one game that was like, oh, this is, you know, like, OMG, this is an amazing thing for me. If I had to, like, if you put a gun to my head and I had to pick something, it would either be Moons of Madness or the Wolfenstein thing, just because
the 2-player co-op one.
The 2-player co-op, that's absolutely going to be the reason for it, because I'm very interested in.
You talking about the one that comes out in a couple of months that they say is going to have a lot of paywalls behind it?
Not the VR one, the other one, and
okay.
I have heard nothing about paywalls, so that's news.
Well, I hear they're doing the same kind of bullshit that they did with Elder Scrolls Blades, so with the couple of ones that they have coming out.
What? I have to look into that.
I don't know what I'm not 100% sure what you're talking about there, so that's fine. But yeah, like, as far as, like, that's the only other game I can think of where I was like, you know, yeah, I would really want to do whatever with that, just because the Wolfenstein games, at least from a narrative perspective, impacted me more than Doom did.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that I think during the entire preview for both of those games, he said kill Nazis no less than like 7 times.
Yeah, and listen, fuck Nazis.
Yeah.
Don't fuck Nazis, but fuck Nazis.
Of course.
I mean, don't butt fuck Nazis.
Don't butt fuck Nazis.
Also,
fuck
comma
Nazis.
fuck Nazis.
Also,
yeah, also comma fuck Nazis. Yes.
Or fuck comma Nazis, or because that's basically fuck Nazis. You know.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Apparently what I read was for the Youngbloods game, that there was going to be a lot of microtransactions embedded in it. And Bethesda's actually come out and clarified recently that it's actually for cosmetic options only. So never mind.
Oh, good. Nobody cares.
I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah,
okay, so then never mind. Forget I said that.
Unless they're naked the entire time, no one cares.
But even then, nobody would care if they were naked.
Probably not. I mean, it's BJ Blazkowicz's daughters. Like, why wouldn't you? Anyway, outside of that,
Skatebird was my game of show.
Skatebird. Yay! It's basically Skate, but instead of a person, you're a bird, and it's actually kind of adorable. Plus, the demo's free, so that's a thing.
Yay!
I caught the tail end of the PC show where they actually, and you're wrong, Robert, they did actually talk at the very end about 10 minutes of additional information about Baldur's Gate 3 because they had Larian Studios on.
I didn't know they were talking about it at wait, which Robert?
Yeah.
Wait, I didn't say anything about them not discussing Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, you did.
No, I said they didn't say anything about Beyond Good and Evil.
No, at
no.
the very
Before that,
beginning,
you said that they didn't say anything about Baldur's Gate, like at the very start.
Because
of the
they
show.
said because they originally announced that during the Stadia Direct, they announced that it was a thing, but at the PC Game Show, they had like a 10-minute interview with the lead dev and a designer on the PC Game Show.
Yeah, you had mentioned
where they announced it's going to be on Epic Store.
Ugh. But yeah, you had said that they announced it beforehand, not during the actual show. Like that was the thing you said.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Like, it had been announced beforehand, but they did actually talk about it for about 10 minutes on the PC Game Show, which was nice. It was good to kind of get a little bit more of a backstory as to, like, how they got into it and why they're doing it, and talked a little bit more about some stuff, and they did some rapid-fire questions about it.
Well,
it's where they also announced that... Yeah, it was also where they announced that Shenmue 3 on PC was going to be on Epic Store until Microsoft basically said, ha ha ha, by the way, we own the studio that makes this game, Deep Silver. Yeah, the first two are already on the Xbox Game Pass. Don't worry about it. It'll be on Xbox Game Pass for PC as well. So yeah, no, we're going to get Shenmue 3 on PC regardless of it being on Epic or not at some point in the near future too. So no,
yeah, but the outrage for that is in regards to the fact that the fans wanted it on Steam along with their boxed copy, but...
Well, especially considering the fact that the page for pre-ordering on Epic didn't go live until after the PC Game Show, but the pre-order page on Steam has been up for 3.5 weeks. So, yeah, lots of upsetty people. The Kind of Funny Game Show was pretty decent. There was a really, really, really cool-looking RPG, like JRPG style game that they actually announced called Chris Tales, which I've actually picked up the demo for it and was playing it a little bit before the show, is both a very cute art style, it looks very crisp, but also has a very specific JRPG feel. It kind of, like, okay, if you're a fan of Legend of Dragoon, you're probably going to like this game. That's about all I can say right now, because I haven't gotten very far into the actual demo. The gist of it is that you have the ability to see both. You have the ability to see past, present, and future options, and you're playing the game in all three spaces at the same time. So you have the ability to time jump between the past, the present, and the future to actually do everything within the game to sort of manipulate the options and how you actually go about combat and quests. So it's actually kind of intuitive and neat, and is definitely not something that I've seen done in an RPG before, and so I'm actually very kind of interested in it. And the story's already kind of got me hooked a little bit as far as, like, kind of how it plays, and I'm like, yeah, this is something I can see myself owning and playing a lot of, because it really is, it's been fun so far for the first, 30 minutes that I played it. Outside of that, Square Enix was kind of mind-blowing for me personally, just because I am such a huge fan of Final Fantasy VII. The remake stuff was above reproach.
Wait, like, say that again. Say that again. You're a big fan of what?
Final Fantasy VII.
Okay. I'm sorry you had to hear that, Mark.
It's people can like Final Fantasy VII. I don't know why you're being weird about this, Robert.
Yeah, I like poking fun at you. You make fun of me for liking Final Fantasy VII. God damn it, I'll make fun of you for not liking it as much as others.
I mean, they did announce that they're finally doing a remaster of 8, so That's a thing.
And nobody fucking cares.
Oh no, there's plenty of people that care. Don't worry
I'm
about
sure
that.
there are people
just
that care.
not you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, the Final Fantasy VII remake stuff was like above.
I'm sorry. I'm
me.
happy that they're remaking Final Fantasy VIII. I don't like the mechanics of it, but the plot is objectively better than the plot of Final Fantasy VII.
I will go on record as saying that while I do think that Final Fantasy VII is one of my all-time favorite RPGs, the storyline was a bit confusing. I don't doubt that a lot of people thought it was very confusing, and I'm sure it will continue to be confusing until they actually release the remake, because apparently
I'm not gonna lie, there are issues that I had with the plot at times, too.
You know, like Nomura has come out officially a couple of times stating that they are working as hard as they can to try to fill a lot of the plot holes and some of the inconsistencies from the original version in the remake. So I have faith. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll eat my foot. But hey,
I don't have a problem with the confusing nature of the plot. I just wish that Aeris had a character.
From what we've seen thus far, and from what people have been saying from the initial impressions from the demo, she does now. So we'll see.
That'd be nice.
It would be nice.
I feel like Aeris deserves to have a character after all the time that she's been around and in all the games that she's been in.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's the least they can do for her after killing her like 30 times.
Right.
Let's give her some kind of character dignity before, we thrust that sword through her one more time.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Oh, spoilers. I'm sorry. Did the 20-something year wait not give you enough time to play the original? That's fine. Everyone knows. Everyone knows.
That's why we don't have spoiler warnings in our shows.
I think they spent too much time on Avengers, but it wasn't terrible. It was really cool that they were able to get the mocap and the likeness of the stunt doubles to actually reprise the roles of everyone we thought we were going to see, but didn't, because why the fuck did Marvel not get their likeness in the movie into this game? Like, I don't understand that.
They got
but
the
hey,
stunt doubles,
you know what?
though.
Whatever. You got the stunt doubles, and you got Laura Bailey and Travis William and Nolan North, so you've got really reputable, very good voice actors to do a lot of god damn it to do characters that I think are perfect for the roles. So I'm happy to see that the voicing is not going to be absolutely terrible. The fact that they basically announced that the first DLC character is going to be Ant-Man was a bit disappointing, because it was really kind of aiming for the fact that I was really thinking it's going to be Spider-Man. But I think that Spider-Man may or may not have a show in that game, specifically because of the Sony, Fox, Disney.
He's in the the Marvel Ultimate game or whatever it is.
Well, Ultimate Alliance, we already knew he was going to be a part of that. Like, that was kind of a given. But
he probably can be a part of the Avengers game. I don't know why he isn't yet, but Hawkeye isn't either. So it's just kind of like,
yeah, that one was a little weird for me too. But it's like,
there's no Hawkeye, there's no Captain Marvel, there's no Black Panther, there's no Doctor Strange. It's Ant-Man being the first DLC was very confusing to me, just because, like, he's the least popular character in the MCU.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, $59.99 Save Aerith DLC. Yeah, okay, I'm okay with that.
Sounds good.
To me, that's why Sega is a better RPG manufacturer than Square Enix, though, because when they did their remake of Phantasy Star 2, you could save Knee.
Yeah.
Wait, really? You could do? Wait.
Yes.
In the PS2 remake?
Yeah.
The PS2 remake, you can save Knee. Yes.
In the PS2 remake. Yes.
I gotta get that.
It requires a hell of a lot of fucking work, but you can save Knee. You can bring her back.
Yep.
In Final Fantasy VII, there is no way in hell they're not killing Aeris, because they've already made way too much extended universe shit to not do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Where she's like stupid fucking dead.
Unless, of course, they do extended universe shit that extends beyond it, where they do bring her back.
I mean, who knows?
If they remake fucking
Advent Children.
Yeah, if they remake fucking Advent Children for this bullshit, just hashtag fuck Square Enix.
And me now. Was good for what it needed to be at the time.
Hey! At least it's not. At least we won't get a remake of Dirge of Service.
Oof.
If they're remaking Advent Children, they're remaking fucking Dirge of Cerberus. Hashtag deal with it.
Yep. Let's see, what else did they announce at Square Enix? I'm glad that they're finally bringing the Mana trilogy back. That's good. I'll probably play them again just because I did enjoy them for what they were. I never played the third one, mostly because I didn't have the money to import the third one. So I'm sure I'll enjoy the new third one. I'm glad that they're keeping them original instead of the second one being this most recent remake of Secret of Mana, which, by the way, is an awful port. I'd rather play the original. I would rather buy a Super Nintendo and a copy of that for the same amount as I paid for that I would have to pay for the 3D remake that they came out with a couple years ago. That was just a bad translation of what I think was beta, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It looked awful, it played awful, and I think that they should feel awful for doing it. I mean, not like Quiet Man awful, but it was awful. The Final Fantasy VIII remaster, sorry. Cool, I guess. Basically just a 1080p upscaling of the PC version.
You're not talking about the most important announcement they made, though, Jan. They're bringing back Crystal Chronicles.
I mean,
I'll buy that shit.
Okay.
I mean, that's cool. I never played the original because I never had both a Game Boy Advance or a GameCube at the same time for me to actually play it, so I never actually got to enjoy it.
I think I'm more likely to buy it and play it on the Switch than I would on the GameCube because that just required a lot of hardware.
It's coming out on the phones too, so it's going to be on mobile too, so I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's going to be where you can integrate the mobile phone version of it with the Switch version of it.
Or the PC version, so yeah.
I wonder if there'll be crossplay. That'd be nice.
No, I think the mobile version of the game itself will most likely just be control schemes, like you did with the Game Boy.
Okay.
And that the core game will still be console-based, but that the phone will be used specifically for what the Game Boy was used in the original release. So at least that's what we're currently assuming is going to be the MO for the release. Whether or not that is true, it remains to be seen, but as we stand right now, I think that's where it's going to end up, and I would agree with that. So, Dragon Quest on Switch, yay! That's fine, I guess. Yeah, really, like, FF7 Remake was pretty much what stole it for me. I think that was really a big... This is a game that's going to keep Square Enix afloat. They had the Final Fantasy XIV in-game story trailer for Shadowbringers. It spoiled a couple of things. It threw out a really big, oh, hey, by the way, this is actually a thing, and you didn't know about it, and now you do, kind of mind blow at, like, the very end. But so, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that in 2 weeks. And then Nintendo is Nintendo. No More Heroes 3. Sure, whatever. I'll probably play it. I like the other ones for what they were. And I am actually more hyped for the hero as a DLC character than Banjo-Kazooie. I never played Banjo-Kazooie, so I don't care.
I mean, that's fine.
I'm glad that he's a character that exists in the Smash universe for the people who care about
I mean, I'm just more
Banjo-Kazooie.
interested in the fact that Microsoft said, hey, here you go. You have permission to use them. Since they own the rights.
No, they don't.
Microsoft owns the rights to Banjo-Kazooie.
They have.
They own Rare. They own Rare. Rare retains the license.
Rare isn't doing anything with the IP.
I know.
That's why they get to use it.
I know. That's why Microsoft licensed it to Nintendo.
It's not licensed to Nintendo. It's an open IP.
Somebody has to own the intellectual property, I think. I would imagine that Microsoft would probably keep the intellectual property active because if you let the intellectual property lapse, you wouldn't be able to sell the games anymore. Well, not the ones that are digitally available.
I mean, they did make them available.
And also, if somebody else went and bought the intellectual property up from under them, you know, like they probably still own the intellectual property rights. There's probably no money changing hands.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like no one is paying anyone to have rights to Banjo-Kazooie in Smash. He's just in Smash. So I'm glad for the people who actually like Banjo-Kazooie and are hyped that he's a thing, I'm just a bit more hyped for the fact that even though I've never played a Dragon Quest game, I am more hyped for the hero than I am for Banjo-Kazooie. I probably still won't play him, but I'm glad that he exists, especially considering the fact that I know for a fact that the American player base of Smash was more hyped for Banjo than they were for Hero, and in fact, most people were like, I don't know what that is. Who is that?
Yeah, but in Japan, it's like the exact other way around.
It's exact opposite. In Japan, when they saw it, they're like, oh my god, the fucking hero.
Like, and then like Banjo-Kazooie comes around and they're like, Nani the fuck?
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, I just thought it was really funny too, because it's like everyone, all of the different, like I follow like 5 or 6 different specific streamers and like YouTubers who are strictly Japanese, and when they did the
fucking we,
yeah, you know I am. What's the point? Like, it's not a call out if it's true.
I'm just saying.
I mean, yeah, but the actual outcry of just support, like the fact that they were just screaming Yusha Yusha, like the fact that they didn't realize it was him and they saw it and they lost their shit, speaks volumes for who the characters are in general in the eyes of the Japanese versus who Banjo was in the eyes of the Americans. Like, I think it was smart. Like, Nintendo did a really intelligent thing, revealing both of them during the same direct. Leading with Hero and ending with Banjo was a very smart move on Nintendo's behalf, because that not only did it give people the hope that there was going to be more, because everyone knew, like, it was nigh on a guarantee that they were going to be announcing Banjo-Kazooie as the next DLC for Smash. The fact that they did 2 DLCs blew everyone's mind, regardless of the fact that it was Hero. But yeah, I think that it was a very intelligent, like, Nintendo did a very good thing. Having additional information about Sword and Shield, even though they just did a direct specifically for Sword and Shield, was kind of nice. The fact that they had it on the floor so that people could actually get their hands on it was pretty cool too. The internet instantly waifu'd Nessa, which has been a very hot topic of debate, which I think would probably be something that could be talked about on an episode, but would probably take up a good chunk of time, and I'm not going to get into it. But other than that, the Daemon X Machina game looks a lot better than it did when they released the initial beta, especially considering the fact that what they released wasn't like a beta demo, it was a beta, and all of the people that said a lot of the problems that existed in the beta have actually been worked on, or in some cases actually outright fixed already. Means that Marvelous is paying attention. They're listening. And this is a big reason why I've liked Marvelous for a while, is because they actually listen to their fucking fans and actually fix problems as quickly as they possibly can to make the game playable. And this is a big reason why the game was delayed from when the beta first came out. Because even though it had a playable beta, it wasn't good. It frame dropped and lagged out and had a lot of problems. And when people told them, hey, here's the problems we have with it, Marvelous said, thanks, and actually went back to the drawing board and fixed a ton of the stuff and optimized better and fixed a lot of the issues, which I thought was great. And then they announced that they're remaking the Panzer Dragoon games and announced Panzer Dragoon 1, and I kind of peed a little because holy shit, I love those games.
Yeah.
While we may never see we may never see Panzer Dragoon Saga again, the fact that I know we'll see 1 and 2 and Orta again at some point in the near future is like, thank
Well,
you.
if they can find this, if they can remaster Final Fantasy VIII, I'm sure. And they said they lost the source code.
They lost the PlayStation source code. They did not lose the PC source code. And the Final Fantasy VIII remaster is a remaster of the PC version. So you will notice a lot of similarities to the Final Fantasy VIII on PC that you will see in this remaster.
Oh, good.
So
that is
why they were able to
jaggy,
do it in the first place.
Textures. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a 1080p upscale of Final Fantasy VIII, so good on you for playing a game that you like. So
I
whatever.
used to have it for the PC, actually.
Yeah, I mean, if you still have the ability to play it on Steam, good, because that's probably the version you're getting. Just a little bit shinier.
All right, so
and on Switch. Outside of that, I think that was pretty much it for Nintendo. I don't remember a lot of the other stuff that they had on there. I think it was just a bunch of other side stuff that I'm not interested in. Oh yeah, and apparently they're making a Breath of the Wild 2 of some sort, so good on you.
And yeah, rumor that Zelda's the playable character, but who knows?
Well, the rumor is that it's co-op.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were saying apparently it came out today that the reason why they made a sequel is because they had so many ideas for DLC that they were just like, fuck it, let's just make another game.
Another game. Yeah.
Which is like, I would sooner that you do that than like release 10 DLC packages. So that's nice.
Hey, Tabata. Anyway, just saying. I like 15. Please don't get me wrong. It's just the idea of how they were going about doing the DLC for it was ass backwards.
Yeah.
If I were to pin a game specifically, my game of show, I mean, I'm kind of torn between Cyberpunk and Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
I think both of those games are pretty much the most anticipated games that I've got. Doom is kind of up there as well. I'd put it in my top 5. I want to know more about Ghostwire. I want to know more about Deathloop. I want to know more about... Oh, right. I want to know more about Chris Tales because it looks like really interesting.
There,
lost my train of thought. Sorry. It's been like this all day. I'm sorry.
No, I understand. We're all tired.
And I want to know more about Chris Tales. Like, I'm actually going to probably go back and continue to play Chris Tales' demo once I get done with this, just because I really want to play it more, just because it looks interesting to me. Like, I don't play a lot of JRPGs like I used to, but this one actually seems like it's intuitive and fun and very interesting, so I'm probably going to continue to try to play it a little bit more just to sort of see where it goes.
Yep.
Oh, right. And I know that Square Enix announced...
Tales of Arise?
I get that people are, like, you're either for or you're against mobile in general. I get that for a lot of people. Final Fantasy Brave Exvius is a Brave Frontier clone. I get it. Not a lot of people are a fan of it. I liked the story. I thought it was interesting. It wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, but it's fun. The gacha is ass. Probably some of the worst rates I've ever seen.
I like Brave Frontier. I don't like Brave Frontier with ass draws.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that they announced the new one, War of the whatever, I can't remember the name of the version of it right off the top of my head. But the new Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Final Fantasy War of my motherfucking beef.
Yeah, basically. But it's a tactic style 3D, and I'm down as fuck for that. So, if you're listening, Square, please, Square, stop making the draws to be ass. Please, that's all I'm asking. If you let me play as Agrias and Ramza, I'm okay. But for the late, just please don't make the draws fucking ass. That's all I ask.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll play it. I just.
All right, so, man, what a great show so far we've had, talking about, you know, the things that we liked about E3. I'll ask one last question, and let's keep it brief so we can wrap things up. What was the biggest bust for everybody at E3? I'll go for you, Mark.
Probably the Commander Keen thing, honestly. I don't really have as much attachment to Sam Fisher as others do. So the announcement of Sam Fisher being put into a mobile game, while it was a bitter pill for many, doesn't really have a negative impact to me. Mm-hmm. Whereas Commander Keen is something that I at least grew up with and acknowledge as being a thing that was part of my childhood to a certain extent. So And if it had been turned into a good mobile phone game, I wouldn't care, but it looks like a terrible mobile phone game. Like, it just looks terrible. There was a lot of things to choose from, though. You know, we've already discussed Commander Keen. We've discussed the Sam Fisher thing. We've discussed Battletoads looking terrible. But of those things, like, Commander Keen is the only one that actually resonates with me as a kid, because, you know, I was a Master System kid growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
So,
they had Commander Keen on the Master System?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm saying that no, they didn't have it on. I'm saying I didn't have Battletoads access when I was a kid.
Oh, right,
fair.
right, okay.
I was a Master System kid growing up, so I didn't play Battletoads. Whereas Commander Keen was something that I at least had some degree of exposure to, you know. So, like, for me, that's the option there. Battletoads may still play okay if it's a beat 'em up, because you can do beat 'em ups that look like ass and still play well. Look at Castle Crashers.
Yep.
But Commander Keen is just going to be terrible. It's just going to be the dirt worst. I cannot conceive of a way in which that game is any good. Sorry, I just can't.
Reminds me of that Force Commander game for Star Wars that came out a few years on mobile that was absolutely terrible.
Not sure about that. For me, yeah, I would have to be up there with Commander Keen because nobody fucking asked for it. It just does not need to exist. I'm sure there's going to be a market of kids who will be playing that game, but Bethesda, come the fuck on, really?
You don't even need to say the rest of it. You just go Bethesda. Oh, you. Man, bust of E3. Commander Keen was fucking awful. Why are they still making that Gears of War pop game? It's basically a Vermilion game and it looks terrible. Damn. I'm gonna have to agree. I think the Commander Keen thing really, feeling that that Commander Keen was kind of an innovator in terms of platforming on PC at the time for the era, because it was unique in the fact that it was sci-fi versus a lot of the games at the time were more fantasy based and was, you know, kind of decent for the era. Like, I think I could probably go back and it's probably ass at this point, but it at the time was kind of an innovator for what it did.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, man, if there was a single franchise that you could have honestly thought that has been dead for, you know, over a decade, I'm sure I'm probably wrong on that number, but it feels like it's been at least 10 years or more since we've heard anything about anything that's related to Commander Keen, if not longer. If any there was a franchise that you were going to Phoenix down and turn it into a shitty mobile phone game, it was not Commander Keen. Like, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it was not Commander Keen.
I mean, we had a better chance of that happening to Baldur's Gate 3, but no, we actually are getting a full-fledged out game.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people say that, oh, there's going to be a new game in this franchise. Yeah, but it's going to be on mobile, right? And then we get shocked when it's not on mobile and it's actually a game. And then Blizzard did that thing with Diablo Immortal, which still hasn't released, and I'm glad for that.
Yeah, didn't they announce that like almost a year ago now?
It's been since last BlizzCon. It'll be a year in like 2 months. But yeah.
Yeah, that's been pre-reg the whole time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it'll probably stay pre-reg because I don't know that they're working on it anymore.
Oh well.
That's
another
another story for another time.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to agree. I think the biggest bust is probably Commander Keen, because out of everything else that was there, I was kind of like, that looks okay, or okay, that's not awful, but it could be worse. The whole Devolver Digital Direct, which I might add, if you caught any of it, was basically a complete ripoff of graphics and everything of the Nintendo Direct. Like, I'm not even joking. They used the red and white arrows, and the sound effects were slightly modified versions of the ones they use on the Nintendo Direct for Devolver Digital. Like, it was a spot-on replica, and it was so dumb. I don't really think there was anything that really stuck out to me as like, why is this a thing? Like, burn it with fire and then put spiders on it. It's that bad. Like, bad. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't see, other than the Commander Keen thing, I don't think I saw anything that really made me feel like I needed to kill it.
Oh, well. I'd say that's a fair assessment of E3 for us this year. I would have to say it is now time to end the show. As much fun as we've been having, I mean, this is one of the longest shows we've had this year. I would usually end the show with, us plugging our stuff. So, you know what? Why the hell not? Just keep it quick, guys. What do you got going on this week, Jan?
Iceborne demo this weekend.
You got the beta they just announced, right?
Yep, Iceborne beta is this weekend and next weekend. This weekend is for PlayStation Plus only, and next weekend is for anyone. It does not require PlayStation Plus. So if you have PlayStation Plus, you will have 2 chances to play the E3 floor demo version of Monster Hunter World Iceborne.
Sounds good.
It will include all of the same monsters that were on the demo. So, Tigrex, Beatotus, the Moose, and I want to say there was one more. Oh, and a Great Jagras for people who have not actually played Monster Hunter World yet or are still new to the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, again, we're going to see 3 sets of hunts. You've got the beginner hunt, the medium hunt, the hard hunt. The hard hunt, of course, being the Tigrex. So it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to that. I'll probably be streaming that this weekend.
Okay.
And go from there.
All right, Mark, what's happening for you?
Probably going to stream Bloodstained on Saturday. Beyond that, nothing really at the moment.
No more redneck pyramid scheme games?
I mean, that game was fun. It's Immortal Redneck, it was called.
Oh.
But no, I'm
Redneck
probably
Pyramid
going to
Scheme.
go for Bloodstained.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it.
What did you think of that game's Twitch integration with its polling system affecting your
neat.
game?
It was pretty neat. I thought it was interesting.
All right. Well, for me, I don't have much else outside of tomorrow, where I'll be streaming some more Guild Wars 2. I've been power leveling. I've been getting back into the game quite a lot. I've got a good set of friends to be playing with. Jan, do you play Guild Wars 2, or are you just heavily entrenched in 14?
I have an account in Guild Wars 2, and I have an engineer that I.
Oh, Fungineer?
Play. No, she's a Fireflower, but
I know, no, Fungineer.
I need to fix it.
Yeah.
Oh no, she kills everything.
Yeah.
She's not fun at all.
No. But it's fun for you.
No, it's not, because when they nerfed Flamethrower, they killed my fun, which is why I stopped playing. So I'll need to find a new build. Oh no, Flamethrower build was my absolute favorite. It was ridiculous DPS way back in the day. But I stopped playing right after they released the first expansion, the Thorns one. So I think I'm like 3 expansions back at this point. So I have like none of the content. So I'm stuck at level 80.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's what's going on for me, and I think we're going to end it right there. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We had a wonderful time. On behalf of everyone here, Hubs, Jan, Mark, thank you all, and have a wonderful night.